This is the lecture for Tuesday, April 7th. Last week we created the attribute block of a detailed title, and now we're going to move on. We're going to use that same concept, but we're going to create 5 or 6 more blocks. And this handout that you're looking at right here is posted on D2L in content under the handouts, I believe, and it's called attribute block examples. And we're going to be doing several attribute blocks. I think if I set this correctly, there we go. The first one that we're going to create is the room information block, and this is the one that we're going to put in whenever we want to give a room a name and a number. And okay, the second one we're going to do is this wall tag, and the next one we're going to do is the elevation bubble, and these things that I'm circling are what we're going to name them. And then we're going to do this one's actually going to end up being 2 of them, section bubble left and section bubble right. And then the last one we're going to do is the elevation target. And I think I'll open up a drawing and just show you how each of these works before we get too far into it. So these are the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 attribute blocks, and I apologize, I keep saying sometimes I call them annotative blocks and sometimes I call them attribute. I really mean attribute blocks because the attributes are the words that are in each one of them that we're going to be changing. So these are the 6 blocks that we're going to be making. I will show you one by one how to create them all, but I wanted to show you right now what they look like. This is what they look like before I've made them into blocks. In this file, I've already created them as blocks, and now I'm going to show you what happens when I insert them. For this moment, I'm going to leave my scale at 1 to 1, and I'm going to I for insert. So this first one is the room name, this one's called room information block. And instead of just putting in the word living room or office or laundry, we would use this one to actually put in the name of the room, and then in a commercial building, each room has a number. And so that's this block right here. And I'm already being told by AutoCAD that I haven't shifted my scale, but that's okay. It's okay for now. And I put him in underneath, and the question is enter the room name, and I'm going to put in office and tab, and the room number for the office is perhaps it's room 109, and I say okay, and there it is. Wall tag is a block also for commercial buildings. We generally don't use them on residential buildings because in commercial projects I have several different types of walls. I'll have 6-inch stud walls and 3 5/8-inch stud walls and concrete block walls. So instead of trying to call all that out, I'm going to give each wall a wall type tag. So when I'm ready to put that one in, I for insert, and you'll see that this guy goes away. This block dialog box goes away until I say I for insert, and then he comes back, and I'm looking for all the blocks in the current drawing, so I'm looking for that one. That's wall tag. They're alphabetical, so here's my wall tag. I click on it, I move my hand, and he's already attached. And my insertion point typically is the middle of the stick, and I'll put that guy in, and it's going to be wall type D. And we'll talk about how to label walls later, but there it is. This is an elevation bubble. So on a floor plan, if I want to tell you if you're looking at the south elevation or the east elevation or the west elevation, that's the one that I would put in. And so now I'm going to look for, and I can actually, whoops, that didn't mean to do that. I'm going to look for here. Here's my elevation bubble. And I can bring him over here. And he goes in, and that elevation, maybe it's my south elevation, is going to be view 4 on sheet A7. I'm just making these numbers up for now, and I say okay. Incidentally, the next thing that we're going to do once we make all these blocks is we're going to make them dynamic. So we're going to come back and make this one so that we get the stick to rotate around, so I can put this in no matter where the wall is in a floor plan. We're going to make the arrowhead so it rotates. We're going to make this guy so the arrow and the stick rotate and the stick lengthens. And over here, this elevation target, we're going to make it so the stick stretches as well. But we'll do that. That's the next lesson. Again, these two guys are section bubble left because he's facing left, and section bubble right because he's facing right. And I put these on a floor plan to show where I'm cutting the section through. So when we just drew the section of the cottage, that section was, if you kind of picture the floor plan in your head, if we sliced that section right through the stairs, we would put this on the floor plan and and then this would be the view that we're looking at. If you don't understand what I just said, don't worry about it. We're just drawing it for now. So this is section bubble left. I for insert. And where is he? They're alphabetical, so they should be right there. Section bubble left. And I bring him out, and he's going to go here. And he's view 2 on sheet A7, and I say OK. And then section bubble right, and I put him here. And I'm not even going to change those. And then the elevation target is right here. The elevation target goes on an elevation or a building section to show you the floor height. And again, at the top, the level might be main floor or first floor or kitchen floor. And then the elevation is how far it is above grade or sea level or some datum that we're going to pick. Typically, we set the main level at elevation 100 feet. Whoops, and I'm going to go this way, 0 inches. And then if the second floor is 9 feet up, the level of the second floor would be second, and then this would say 100 foot or 109 feet, 0 inches. And there it goes. So, I want to adjust that because I don't like the fact that, I want my M and my 1 to line up. And I think that's just by virtue of the fact that a 1 is in the middle and the M is the widest letter there is. So we're not going to worry about that. All right, so let's move back. I'm going to move back to my plan drawing that I'm actually going to draw these in. So right now, these blocks are not in this drawing at all. I'm going to keep referring to this drawing right here. And the first one that we are going to create is the room information block. We're going to draw a rectangle that is a 1/2 inch by 7/32. And I know that's a weird fraction, just trust me. But first we're going to draw the rectangle. Then we're going to put in room name, the attribute block room name. It's going to be bottom center justified. The text style is room name. And then we're going to put in the room number. The text style is notes, and it's going to be middle center justified. So I'm going to switch back to this one. Again, I'm going to move to layer, because I always make blocks on layer 0. Make sure it's at 1 to 1 down here. And I'm going to draw my little rectangle off to the side, REC. Remember, this is going to be very small. And I'm going to put it right there, drag my hand out a little bit, and my first box is going to be 0.5, tab, and then 7/32. So really, really small. I have to really zoom in. At the top, I'm going to put the room name. So I'm going to type ATT. And my tag for the room name is room, and I'm going to shorten it a little bit. Room name. Enter the room name. And my default is going to be, I'm going to put 5 X's there. My justification is bottom center. And my text style is going to be room name. Room name, right there. Okay. He comes in, he looks like he's left justified. You have to trust a little bit, and I'm going to snap to the middle of the top line of this rectangle, and there's the room name. Now I'm going to put the room number in, so I type ATT, and the tag is going to be room_num. Remember that you cannot have an empty space here. You have to put something in there. I choose to put the little bottom underscore in there. Enter the room number. Default. Typically room numbers are 3 digits. So I'm going to put any room on the first floor of a building starts with a 1. If the room is on the second floor, it starts with a 2. If the room is on the third floor, it starts with a 3, yada, yada, yada. My justification is going to be middle center. And my text style is going to be notes. And then I say OK. And to get it dead center in there, don't eyeball it. There's a couple ways to get this to the middle of. You can either hover over one midpoint, so you're looking for your triangle. Remember, if your snaps are not on, you're going to make sure down here that this blue box is on. And then you hover over that one, and then slowly come over and hover over the bottom, and you come back and you'll see the intersection of both of those. There's also another way. If I move this out of the way, when you want to put this in, there is a setting here in Object Snaps called Geometric Center. And so if you turn that guy on, he will automatically find, and see how that little, all I had to do was hover over the rectangle and we get the little asterisk in the middle, and that's the geometric center. So that was helpful. I'm going to turn that guy off because I don't want him on all the time. And that's my room information block. I'm going to hit escape, and now B for block, and I'm going to call him room info. Pick my insertion point, which is going to be the bottom here. Make sure it says retain. Select my objects. I'm going to pick the rectangle, and then room name and room number, and you're watching for them to turn sort of this light pale blue. That means you've got them selected. I hit enter, and then the most important part, do not forget to click annotative. Anytime you have a block that has letters or numbers in it, a word or digits, you have to pick annotative. Otherwise, they will come in way, way, way too big. Click annotative and OK. So this, I'm going to leave this here, but this is not the block. This is still, well, let's just test it for a second just so you see what you did. Now, I for insert, and I'm going to look in here, and there it is. And this little blue triangle means it's annotative, so I've done my job correctly. He is white, which means he was on layer 0, so that's correct. And then I'm going to bring him in, and there he is, and he asks me, and now I'm going to type lobby, and then tab room 118, and there you go. All right. I'm going to close this, and the next one that we're going to draw is the wall tag. The wall tag, first I'm going to draw a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square. I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees to get it to be a diamond. I'm going to draw a 1/2 inch long stick, and then I'm going to put the attribute right in the middle of the diamond. Text style is notes, and the text is middle center justified. This tells you how to rotate the stick. Don't worry about that. We're going to do that in the next class period. So I'm going back to here. And layer 0, 1 to 1, REC for rectangle. Just going to put this over here. Just pick a point anywhere, drag my hand out, and type 0.25, tab 0.25 for 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Rectangle jumps off the side of the screen. Don't worry, I'm not worried. Hit enter, and there you go. Now I'm going to rotate him, RO for rotate. Select him, and I'm going to rotate. It doesn't matter because I'm going to move this guy around. Where I pick as my base point, I can even pick it right here. And I'm going to rotate him. Don't use your hand. You can start to rotate him, but I do want you to type in 45 and hit enter. And now I want you to draw a stick. So L for line, go from the bottom of the diamond and go down 0.5 for 1/2 inch. All right, now we're going to type ATT, And the tag is going to be wall underscore type. Enter the wall type. Tab. If you don't know this trick, to go from box to box without having to move your cursor, just hit the tab key. Default, X. If I want to go down to the next one, I think I can tab to get to the next one. That takes me there. No, that's jumping all over. That took 4 tabs to get there, but you can do it to get here as well. My justification is going to be middle center. Make sure my text style is notes, and I say OK. And now I'm going to hover, and again, I want to get it to the dead center of this. I can either go back and turn that geometric center on, or I can hover over the top, hover over the side, and come back together, and there'll be a little cross in there. And there they go. Let's turn him into a block. I'm going to move him up a little bit so I can create these in a row. B for block, wall tag. Pick my insertion point. I usually pick my insertion point the middle of the stick, because when we put this into a floor plan, he is going to go into the wall right there. And then make sure it says retain. Select my objects, stick, diamond, word, enter, and notation. Okay. Now I'm going to insert him. I for insert. There he is. And there he is, wall type B. All right, next I'm going to close this out. Next one, what are we doing next? We are doing, flip your paper over. All right, we're doing the elevation bubble. I'll make this a little bit. So this, I have some more steps to this because this is a circle and a square, and it has hatches in it. The important thing is when you put the circle and the square together, they have to be absolutely, their center points have to be smack on to each other. Otherwise, you're not going to get your hatch in the arrowhead to work. So this one. First of all, I'm going to draw my circle right here. C for circle. I pick my center point. Remember that a circle always defaults to a radius. I can never do the math, so I right-click, change to diameter, and now I type 5/8. And now next to it, I'm going to draw a square or a rectangle, so REC, enter, pick a corner point, drag my hand out, and now I'm going to type 5/8 and tab 5/8. Come on, there we go. Now I'm going to rotate this guy 45 degrees, RO for rotate, select him, and it doesn't matter what point I pick because I'm going to move him in a second, and I'm going to type 45. He defaults to 45. I never trust that, so I'm just going to type 45, enter, and there we go. And now I can either move the circle into the middle of the square or move the square into the middle of the circle. M for move. I'm going to pick the square or the diamond. To get the midpoint, I'm going to hover, so I make sure I get the little X, midpoint there, and now I come over, and you have to hover on, you have to touch the outside of the circle in order to get the little crosshatch in the middle to show up. And then you can snap them in. Okay, here's an important thing. We are going to, you want at the end of the day a line all the way across here. So you're going to trim out and have the bottom of an arrow. Do not do one long line from there to there. You need 3 little lines. You need this little line here, this little line here, and this one here separately. Trust me. All right. I'm going to go back to here. Okay, so I'm going to draw 3 lines just to prove my point. I'm going to go from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. If you are not getting these little diamonds to show up, again, go to your object snaps down here. Make sure you have quadrant turned on. Now you can go side, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, enter. And now I'm going to draw 2 more lines from the point there, enter, another line from there to there. So I have 3 little lines, and that's exactly what I want. Now you can trim out, TR for trim. And you select your boundaries, which are the 2 little guys right there, and make that go away. All right, now we're going to hatch in here. So H for hatch. And the hatch that I'm going to use is ANSI 31. If this is not what comes up on yours, if the hatch you most recently used was concrete or something else, you can just scroll through, and ANSI 31 is at the very top right here. And then I'm going to do two more things. He defaults to a scale of 1. We're going to scale him down to 0.1. So much skinnier. We want our lines skinnier together. And he comes in at an angle, and we want him to be vertical. So I think I'm going to turn him 45 degrees. Let's see if he comes in vertical. So now I'm going to zoom in, and there he is. And I'm going to hatch my 3 pieces, which is perfect. If your lines come in much farther apart, you have not changed your scale. And hit enter. And now I'm going to put my attributes in, ATT. My tag for the top is view prompt, so I'm going to tab, enter the view, spelled the incorrectly, tab, X, tab, 1, 2, 3, bottom center, and view sheet number, because I'm using view number, and say OK. That one goes there. I'm going to type ATT again. Tag is sheet. Tab. My prompt is enter the sheet number. Not very good at spelling the. AX, justification, top center, view sheet number stays the same. I say OK. I'm going to snap that guy right in. Both times I'm snapping right to that midpoint on that circle. I don't want sheet to touch the line, so I'm going to move him down. You can either move him exactly, I'm looking for the exact same distance between view and the line and sheet and the line. So I'm going to eyeball this guy right there. B for block. This is called your elevation. You can type out the word elevation if you want. I'm going to abbreviate and call him bub. Elevation bubble. I'll spell the whole word out. Elevation bubble. Pick my insertion point. You want the middle of the circle, dead center of the circle. Retain. Select objects. Here's where you have to select everything. Don't select it all in one box. You can select the objects, meaning the lines and the circle and the hatch together. Make sure you get that guy. And then separate word, select the words individually. Enter. Annotation. All right. B for block. Whoops, I'm sorry. We already made that block. I for insert. There he is. Bring him in. The view, I'm going to guess again, view 6 on sheet A12. Okay, there he is. Close that out. And now I cheated a little bit. I'm going to use this because I've already got it drawn. So I'm going to copy this guy over here. I'm going to rotate my arrowhead to the left, so RO for rotate. I'm going to grab the arrow, the hatch, make sure you get even these little lines right there. Leave the word view and sheet vertical, and you're going to rotate about the dead center of the circle. So you're looking for this little triangle, and then move your hand out, and you can start to rotate it with your hand, but do type in 90, so you know that your arrowhead is exactly 90. And now I'm going to draw a line. The directions for this one are down here. The line is 1.5 inches long, and then we're going to draw this little rectangle down here, and he is a 32nd of an inch by 1/2 inch tall, and he's a 32nd of an inch over here. There's a little bit of a gap, and so this is how I do that. So line, come right up here from the my clock doesn't work. 12, 3 from the 6 o'clock point, go all the way down 1.5 inches, 1.5, enter. And now off to the side anywhere, I'm going to draw a rectangle. And my rectangle can start anywhere I want it. I drag my hand up. I'm going to type 1, 32nd, tab, 0.5. I'm going to move my rectangle into place, and this is going to require 2 moves. I'm going to take the bottom right corner and snap it to the bottom of the line, and now I'm going to move that rectangle over a 32nd of an inch, and I can just move it the width of the rectangle because that's the same distance. So M for move, grab the rectangle, move his lower right corner to his lower left corner, and there we are. The last thing I need to do is hatch this guy right there. So I'm going to H for hatch, and I'm going to hatch inside. And if you look inside, I'm going to put that in there and hit enter. And you go, well, that's kind of silly. It's a vertical hatch here and a horizontal hatch here. I just need to match properties. So I think I can just click match properties here, select the source, which is the good hatch, and then go in here and paint the bad hatch, enter. And they've already, now it changes. I am going to now use the power of mirror, MI for mirror, select this whole thing. Boy, I hope this works. I've never done it this way. Let's see if it works this way. And bring that in there. I'm actually going to, because I'm not sure that these guys are going to work in mirror, so I'm going to put my attribute text in again. ATT, view, enter the view, X, whoops, justification, bottom center, view sheet number is perfect, put him there, ATT, tag is sheet, tab, enter the sheet number, default is AX, come on, justification is top center, view sheet number is perfect, put him in here, move him down so there's some space. There we go. All right. And now I'm going to B for block for both of these guys, I think. Let me make sure that I don't remember if I made this one. So I for insert. Do I have that guy? Section. Nope. I'm going to make both of them blocks. So B for block, section, bubble left for the one that points left. Pick my insertion point. I'm going to pick my insertion point as the bottom of the circle. Retain, select objects. So now I can pick all of this stuff, all the objects. Make sure you get those 2 little lines in there, the horizontal line, and then separately select the words and hit enter. Annotation. Okay, I'm going to do this one now. B for block, section, bub, right. Pick my insertion point, same little spot on the circle, retain, select all my objects. Make sure I got that little guy there and that one there. And now each word individually. Hit enter. Annotation. There we go. All right. One more left to do. That is the elevation target. The one thing, a little bit different is I'm going to have you draw, and we're going to put, it says put in a node right here. When you insert the elevation target on a building section or elevation, we always want a little bit of a gap. We don't want it touching the building. So we're going to build this little gap into our block. Don't worry if you don't understand what I'm talking about now. When we use this on our building section, you will understand that. You will get it. So I'm going to go back and over off to the side, layer 0, 1 to 1, C for circle, plunk it anywhere I want. And then again, says specify the radius of the circle. It's going to be a 1/4 inch diameter circle. So I'm going to right click, change to diameter, type in 0.25, enter. And now I'm going to draw a line from the 9 o'clock point 2 inches over. So L for line. Whoops, I'm not in the right spot. L for line. Go from 9 o'clock, 2 inches to the right. I'm going to, if you look at this guy, he's got little extensions on either side, and I do that by offsetting my circle 1/16 of an inch and then just extending those lines. And then we're going to hatch the 2 corners, and then we'll put in the attribute. Okay, so I'm going to O for offset, 1/16, grab my circle, offset it out. I'm going to extend, EX for extend, this, that's my boundary, extend that one. And now I'm going to draw a line from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Again, if you're not getting the little diamonds, you're going to go here and turn quadrant on. So I'm drawing line from there to there, enter. Now I'm going to delete this outside circle. Now I'm going to hatch, H for hatch. I'm going to pick this one and this one, enter. It's the same hatch that I used over here, so I don't need to do anything. If they came in horizontal, I could match properties and use that hatch. Now I'm going to put ATT in. Oh, to get the little gap in, I'm just going to draw, this is a guideline. We're not going to pick it, it's temporary, so I'm just going to go from the right end of this line up, enter. I'm going to offset this guy 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125. And now I'm going to get rid of the first line, delete it. All right, now I'm going to put my text in, ATT. I have to remind myself what we said. The top says level, the bottom says height, and the text style is notes, right there. Okay, so one more time, ATT. The top is going to say level, L-E-V, and level means first floor, second floor, third floor. The prompt is enter the level. This should start, you should start to see a pattern here. And I'm going to put just 5 X's in there. The justification is going to be bottom left. And I'm going to switch this to text style notes. Okay, put it in. ATT. The tag is going to be height, HGT, or if you want to spell it out, H before E except after HIEGHT. Wrong. Height, prompt, enter the HEIGHT, default. Here's where I'm going to add some extra stuff, because whenever we put the height in, we're going to have feet and inches and all sorts of extra digits, so it's just faster, I have found, to put XXX feet dash X inches. So later on, we will just need to change the X's to wherever we are. Justification is going to be top left. Notes is still good. We say okay. There we go. Now, 2 things. I'm going to slide the word height down because I want this gap in there. And so I'm sort of eyeballing it so it matches his buddy up there. And now I'm going to move them both over 1/16 of an inch. And actually, I might just eyeball this as well because I'm feeling lazy. There we go. All right. B for block. This is called my elevation target. Pick my insertion point. Here's where it comes in. That's my insertion point. The bottom of this temporary vertical stick is my insertion point, not that one. So it's the bottom of the stick. Retain, select objects. Do not select this guy. So I'm just going to select this, all of this stuff, and then the words individually. 1, 2, enter, annotative, okay. And now B for block. Oops, I've already done that. I'm sorry. I for insert. And where is my elevation target? Again, they're alphabetical. There he is. And he comes in. And then the level would be second floor. And maybe the second floor, at least on the cottage, I know it was at 9 feet up. So 109 feet and 0 inches. All right. And that's how that one works. I think I might pause the video and just show you how that guy goes in. So just quickly, this is how you would, where this elevation target would go. So this is our building section. I'm going to close this out. So I for insert, there's my elevation target. I bring him in. Notice my cursor is attached to the sort of right side of it. I'm going to come in and find this is the top of my floor. I can find it over here as well, but I don't want this on top of my drawing, so I'm going to slide it over here and put it in. And this is my main floor tab, and it is 100. Whoops, I wouldn't even had to do that. I could have just changed the X's. And there it is. And this is the gap that came in automatically because I had it in my block. And there you go.